All right, welcome to Unsolved Horrors. We haven't done one of these in, it feels like a month.
A good minute.
Yeah, but
it's more than a month.
Really? I genuinely...
Oh, yeah, it's been a couple months because we've been really doing the Big Show, kind of hammering that.
I was about to say,
it's been a good minute.
Because, the last one we did 2 months ago, God, that's... Because it was the Anthill Kids. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's really long ago.
Mm-hmm.
In that time, we've done a lot of the Big Show, but we're moving it over to a new channel that is exclusively for, stuff like that. Like the Big Show and, just anything that isn't Unsolved Horrors. Because I think we should really keep Unsolved Horrors, spooky stuff and, conspiracy theories and stuff like that. But we're going to move all of that to... I actually made the channel today. It's just called the Big Show. So, I'm going to move all that stuff there. And then, if we end up doing something that isn't Unsolved Horrors, I'll just put it there. This intro was a lot longer than I had planned on, but that's cool. It's fine. It's whatever.
It'd be like that sometimes, man. I understand.
How you doing, man? How's life treating you?
I'm doing not too bad. I've started running recently.
That's good.
I hate it.
Hey, man.
But...
No one ever said being healthy was easy,
That's true. That's a fair point.
That's why I'm fat. It's just 10 times easier.
You're not incorrect.
Making a whole meal takes time, but ordering something
you can't
from
cook
McDonald's,
macaroni.
I can't cook macaroni, so... I tried. Whenever Bree came to Illinois for a bit, I tried to cook macaroni, and I messed it up. My noodles were incredibly hard, so I was like, well, I guess I can't eat this. And then I ended up making one of those TV dinner macaroni and cheeses. And
Jesus Christ.
The
alternative is the same, except I have to do less.
It's much sadder because I ended up making chicken patties. I ended up cutting them up into small pieces and putting them in the mac and cheese and then covering it with buffalo sauce.
True chef right there.
I made the ultimate poor man meal. But let's go ahead and jump into today's subject. It's a lot of T's. But today we're going to talk about D.B. Cooper. How much do you know about D.B. Cooper?
I'm not going to lie to you. The only reason I even know the man is because, as I was saying, on the Disney Plus original whatever show, Loki, they're after the first episode or something like that, after Loki gets arrested, they're going over all of his crimes and stuff like that. And one of them was that he was D.B. Cooper. And I guess they go in saying that he lost a bet to Thor or some shit, and then he did the shit.
That's kind of wild. That's honestly because the story of D.B. Cooper is really crazy. It's brought up a lot in pop culture. The first time I ever heard about D.B. Cooper, unironically, was from something that kind of inspired this podcast, which was BuzzFeed Unsolved. That's how I originally heard about D.B. Cooper, but then I saw him in, I can't remember what the show was, but there was a show that mentioned him, a while ago. So, yeah, no, I've known about D.B. Cooper for a while. I just didn't know the extent of his story. So I'm going to jump into that now. On the afternoon of November 24th, 1971, a nondescript man calling himself Dan Cooper approached the counter of Northwest Orient Airlines in Portland, Oregon. He used cash to buy a one-way ticket on flight number 305 bound for Seattle, Washington, and thus began one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in FBI history. Now, I think that this is crazy because, for the most part, there's not a lot of unsolved crimes. There's the few here or there, the Zodiac.
Not Zodiac. Not, and if they are unsolved, they're not decades old this or the Zodiac.
This and the Zodiac are on a weird time realm where they just... if they were found out, they would still charge these people, I would assume. But it's there's just no trace.
It happened years ago.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, okay, when you think about this, talking about this reminds me of the fact that you know how easy it was to get away with crimes like this back in this time? If you weren't there, you were it's unsolved. After you did the crime, if you just disappeared, it's oh no.
It's like, oh, there he goes.
DNA.
That's what I actually brought that up to when I was at work one time. I was like, have you ever noticed that we have significantly less serial killers now than we did in like the 1900s?
Yeah.
Specifically like the mid to late 1900s?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but like the 1960s to like the early 1990s was just like serial killers were fucking popping.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean,
we don't know.
look at what's his name? Ted Bundy. Look at Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
The way he got found out.
60s.
Yeah, the way he got found out wasn't even DNA, which he left a lot of behind.
A lot of,
But
yeah.
the way he got found
He
out,
was
he just bit someone. He bit his
Yeah.
victims, and they took a mold of his teeth and were like, "Oh, this lines up. This has
Which
to be you."
is nothing compared to how they found fucking Jeffrey Dahmer, which we've already gone over
Yeah,
in one of our
which is
fucking
like,
episodes, was, hey, fucking
Someone
some
escaped.
dude came up to the cops and was like, some weird dude just kidnapped me.
Yeah, and it's like,
They went to his house, and then he was like, oh yeah, come in. And then they found body parts everywhere.
yeah, it's really crazy to think about how easy it was to get away with murder back in the, like, this, basically from the actually any time before the 2000s.
Yeah, that's fair. Because Jack the Ripper in like the fucking 1880s.
Yeah, the government.
You know,
the government came up with the way to identify people using DNA, and all the criminals was like, "Oh darn, we gotta stop. We gotta chill out."
the fucking swipe or no swiping thing we were just talking about.
Yeah. But all right, I'm gonna jump back into this. So Cooper was described as a quiet man who appeared to be in his mid-40s, wearing a business suit with a black tie and a white T-shirt. He ordered a drink. He ordered a bourbon and soda while the flight was waiting to take off. A short time after 3 p.m., he handed the stewardess a note indicating that he had a bomb in his briefcase and wanted her to sit with him, and the stunned stewardess did as she was told. Opening up he had like a really cheap looking briefcase is what it's saying. But opening up this briefcase, Cooper showed her a glimpse of a mass of wires and red-colored sticks, and demanded that she write down what he told her. Soon, she was walking a new note to the captain of the plane that demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills. Now, I just want to bring up how funny that is.
4 parachutes?
No, the four parachutes makes a lot of sense to me because he had two front parachutes, 2 back parachutes, and he wanted to make sure he had backup ones because he's about to jump out of an airplane. But it's really funny to me that this grown man, this adult...
that's not... Okay, so... Sorry to interrupt here for a second, but... That doesn't exactly make sense, because, like, a parachute isn't exactly a small thing.
Yeah, no.
And most parachutes have a backup parachute in the parachute.
I mean...
So he wouldn't be wearing all 4 of these parachutes.
This is where my thing I was about to bring up comes in. Because as someone who doesn't know anything about parachutes, I just assumed that's why he did it. But...
No, the only thing that I can think of is he had 3 other people who's like, hey, put this on.
No,
and he pushed out, so you got 4 people falling from the sky. You don't know who the fuck did it, so you're going to fucking go to all 4 of these. So by the second guy, the fucking other ones are fucking dipped the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. No, it was just him. He just wanted 4 parachutes. So... this comes to my theory, which I think, being completely honest, I think D.B. Cooper may have had some form of a mental thing going on. Because, really think about it. He got on a plane with a briefcase. This is back before the TSA was all hands in the gooch type TSA. So, he got on a plane back when the TSA just high-fived you as you walked through. Now... His master plan was, I got a lot of red sticks and just an ungodly amount of wire. If I get on a plane with this, they'll think it's a bomb. He made a bomb that looked like a cartoon bomb and was just like, I hope they don't check it. That is some real, like, Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, Looney Tunes type stuff. Like, it's not even a logical thing to do. If you were going to be a terrorist, I'm saying now, if I showed up to an airport like that and the TSA was still as lax as they are, where they give you a beer and just go, get on there, champ, I think that people, the stewardess would be like, hey, wait a minute, is that just a bunch of Is that just a bunch of Slim Jims? Is that a bunch of Slim Jims and a what? Is that one of those LAN like wires that you connect to the internet and then connect it to your computer? What? What is this?
Well, I don't think the internet
it's a
was
bomb.
really a thing in
No, I'm saying in this day and age.
You said?
Yeah,
oh,
no,
this day and age. Yeah, people would pick it apart. Not to mention, we've had a lot of bombings go off in this country, so most people know what the fucking bomb looks like now.
They're not.
Which, don't get me wrong,
this
isn't exactly the best thing to fucking brag about, but it's true.
Look, I'm just saying. D.B. Cooper got lucky with the simple fact that his stewardess is like, yes, I've seen cartoons and I've seen what bombs look like. Like, this is...
Hey, man, that's when Saturday morning cartoons were fucking alive and well, man. You gotta fucking wake up. Maybe she had a kid, wake up in the morning, fucking watch it, you know? You don't know what's going on.
This was pre-bombs looking like skateboards, I guess.
Yeah, man, freaking bombs and everything. Bombs didn't look like planes at that point.
Yes, that is accurate. I don't know. I think that's wild that he got on a plane with a suitcase. Because, like, if you even walk, like, I don't know if you've been on a plane recently.
Several.
Yeah, it's awful.
Recently?
It's
no,
a
the
nightmare.
last time I was on a plane was 2019.
Oh.
And it was a pain in the ass then,
it's
too.
so awful. It's you go through and they're like, we need you to take everything out of your bag. Take off your shoes. Give me your glasses. It's like, fuck.
That was and coming. Okay, that's like as far as I'm aware, every time you freaking, and it's even worse for some things, like because like as far as I'm aware, you've only been on a plane to go to a different state, right?
Yeah, different countries is much worse.
Oh, much worse. Because like, all right, when I flew to Atlanta, all right. It was a smaller airport, for one, so it was like, all right, take this, and stuff like that, and it was kind of annoying, but I was like, all right, whatever. I was through fairly quick.
Yeah.
When I went to Poland and fucking went through O'Hare, I was going through customs for like an hour and a half, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? And then when I came back, it was even worse.
Yeah, man, it's
because a whole bunch of not dumbass questions, but a bunch of fucking questions. Oh, have you been here? Have you been here? And so on and so forth. I'm like, no, man, read the passport.
I can only imagine how terrifying it is as a U.S. citizen trying to come back into the country after leaving the country, but I can only imagine how much worse it gets when you are a, like,
non-American citizen.
Well, I was gonna say a recent U.S. citizen. Even then, too, yeah. Like if you're like from another country flying here, it must be a nightmare.
Dude, it's a process to get here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what a lot of people don't understand about like the freaking that is like you gotta get a visa just to come here.
Yeah.
Like my freaking significant other, her freaking she had to get a school visa, and that's why she's here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Her brother-in-law comes here, I think, on a work visa. He like does his job brings him over here every now and again. Like every couple months, he'll come and visit America because of work.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
But it's a fucking process to get that.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like,
so there's these. Most people know about these people. They've been on the internet for a while, but Rooster Teeth. Do you know who Rooster Teeth is?
Yeah.
They made Red vs. Blue and all that. Do you know who Gavin is from Rooster Teeth? Gavin is the British guy. But Gavin, he originally came to the United States on a school work visa kind of deal, and like. The only reason he was able to stay in the United States is he had to prove like that he made money here and worked here. That's how he got the visa. But two, he also had to prove that he was doing something here. Like he had to have like an award to show that he actually was doing what he said he was doing and he wasn't just making it up to come here. And then even then, he'd been doing YouTube for a while and he literally had to go back because he had no proof of like him doing the job he said he was doing. Other than the YouTube videos, but it's like, you know, like that doesn't mean much to customs.
No. Which is wild, because you know what you need as an American to go to other countries?
What?
A passport.
Yeah.
That's
super easy.
As long as you have a passport. There are certain countries you need a special visa to, but that's only because those countries we're kind of tense with.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure we need a special... I'm pretty sure my uncle had to get a special visa when he went to Russia.
Yeah, you can't go to Russia. You can't go to China. You are not allowed to go to Saudi Arabia unless you have been invited by somebody of power.
Yeah.
It's really it's hard. But, I mean, like, in most situations, there's not a lot of reason to go to these places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either way,
But
I mean, that's pretty much the end of the DB Cooper thing. It's not very long. I mean, he jumped out of... The next thing is he jumped out of the plane. They had touched down at the place they originally... They had touched down at an airport in between their
freaking
the end of their flight.
Destination and when they left.
They touched down at a place directly in between those 2 points. Because he was like, I'll let everyone off the plane. I just want the money and, to be taken back up into the sky. Well, the way that he wanted to do it is he wanted them to fly him from Washington to Mexico City, which was physically impossible without stopping to refuel.
Yeah.
Well, in between Seattle, the place that they had stopped at, which was in California, between California...
Wait, where was their original destination?
Their original destination, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
I'm trying to see here.
Okay.
Yeah, so... No, it was Seattle. It's Seattle, Washington. That's my bad. So it was from Oregon to Washington. So they made it to Washington. I don't remember exactly where they touched down at in Washington. But they made it to Washington. And then from Washington, he wanted them to fly him to Mexico City without stopping at all. He wanted them to just go through and fly. Well, that's not possible.
No, that wouldn't happen.
Without stopping for
especially
fuel.
if it's going from... Oregon and Washington are right on top of each other, so this is not going to be a big plane.
So they refueled as soon as they touched down in Washington. They refueled, and they went back up. And so DB Cooper had the stewardess sit in the back of the plane with him, and he let 2 other stewardesses and the pilots stay on the plane because I mean, fucking, you got to have someone there to fly the plane, and then he just wanted the stewardesses there. So no funny business. He said, I'm not making this up. This is what he wrote on one of the notes. He said, no funny business, which I think is the funniest thing that a criminal has ever said ever.
Wait, so it was just no funny business?
It was, he said no funny business, or what was it? He said no funny business, or I'll do the thing, or something like that. He said some really, he tried to make it sound gangster and really like ominous, but it's like he knew that he was bullshitting, like he had to have.
Yeah, I'll do the thing. What thing? The thing.
I'll make it explode. I'll fucking ruin everything. But
I'll fucking make everything go boom.
But it's really funny because according to reports that the FBI, because that's where I got most of this information from, was because the FBI has like the case up for it and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just look it up on their most wanted list.
The interwebs.
But it's really funny because so he jumped out of the plane in between those two in between Mexico City because the stairs were put down, and as soon as the stairs were put down, they knew like he was getting off the plane pretty much, so they were trying to find a place to touch down at.
Right.
He jumped out of the fucking plane, and the FBI was like, it's believed that he died as soon as he jumped out of the plane.
Yeah, he's like, well, he jumped out of a fucking plane. It's probably gonna just assume.
Which is fully believable because this man got on a plane with licorice sticks and wire, and then wrote no funny business on a note. It's like he was probably really dumb. Realistically, there's no way he was any smarter than your average 5th grader. And
fucking, you got Forrest Gump up there, fucking jumping out of planes.
You don't have Stephen Hawking up there. It's just some average guy.
Watch him still be alive, and he listens to this, and he's gonna hunt us down or some shit for going him stupid.
Listen, that's fine. This was back in the what I said. It was back in the 70s. He was 40 in the 70s. By all means, I'll take that challenge. I'll fucking scare him away with my newfangled technology. Show him
technology.
Google image search a real bomb, and he'll be like, "Whoa, where'd you get that?" I got on the plane with a bunch of Coke cans and wires. It's like, God, crime was so easy back then. It's so crazy to think about that. But it's really funny though, because in the FBI thing, they're just like, "Yeah, we believe that he died as soon as he jumped out of the plane." Can you imagine being him though?
Just watching him jump out, a person just yeets himself from the plane. Oh, he's dead.
He thinks it's gonna be like a movie, and he just gets fucking sucked into like the vacuum.
Fucking straight into the engine.
Yeah, just But it's really funny because, like, the more I read about it, the more I was like, DB Cooper's stupid. He's just a dumb guy who was hoping to get away with some illegal activities, and that is what happened. And it's super funny because they had suspects, obviously, but none of them would admit to being Cooper, but also they all had alibis. And like I said, back in the 70s, as long as you weren't there when the police showed up, well, the crime didn't really happen.
Yeah. It committed itself, man. I don't know what did happen.
It's really funny, though, because, like, even just reading back some of my notes that I put in here, the FBI full-on officially suspended the case in July of 2016. But the agency continues to request that any physical evidence that might emerge related to the parachutes or the ransom money be submitted for analysis. And I don't know why, but I think that is hilarious. because another thing in my notes is that two F-106 fighter aircrafts from McCord Air Force Base over in Washington followed the fucking plane because obviously there's a terrorist on this plane and they didn't want him to do any crazy shit. None of them saw this man dive out of the plane.
No funny business.
No funny business. No one saw him dive out of this plane because he dove out at like 7:40 at night. But no one saw him dive out of this plane. But it's really funny to think that at some point in time, at because 7:40 is when they said he dove out, he just dives out into darkness, and I just imagine him just slowly plummeting to his death, and he's just like, I didn't think this through. Just looking at all the woods.
Coordinates, a freaking they pulled a fast one on him and gave him the freaking. To make it even more cartoonish, he pulled it and just a bunch of silverware falls out.
He pulls it and it's just a little white flag that says bang.
Freaking a piece of paper flies out, says parachute. You know, it's fine.
A little piece of paper.
So,
he pulls the cord and all that comes out is the cord pulls down and opens a little pocket. He pulls out a little piece of paper and it just says, no funny business. As he's plummeting to the earth. Oh man,
I can imagine because he freaking tried to pull a funny business. Imagine him instead of freaking out, just be like, huh, boom.
Oh, here's another
just a
one.
Solitary chuckle.
So here's another one that I thought was super like wild that no conspiracy theory has ever. Like, whenever I look up conspiracy theories and, like, you know, crazy shit, like events that have happened, there's usually a definite of what happened in a situation.
Yeah.
Well, I had 3 different sources. It was a 3-1, but I had 3 different sources say that the plane's stairs were down. He actively put them down. But then one source said that the stairs were already down and that the plane had to fly at a low altitude because obviously its fucking stairs are out. That's really dangerous. But I think that that's wild that there were differing like stories. That one says, you know, the 3 of them say he did it himself. He dropped the stairs and jumped out. But one story was that the plane had to fly with the stairs down so he could make an easy escape. And that to me is really wild to think about. Because can you imagine being the person in the plane that has to take off with the stairs down, knowing that this dickhead is about to dive out of the plane?
Especially, like, the vacuum, because, like, planes have to pressurize.
Yeah. So that's another thing.
It's just not happening here.
Yeah. And it's, like, it's really funny to think about, but it's, like, I don't know. Everything that surrounds the DB Cooper stories is like a fucking cartoon. It just seems animated and fake. It doesn't seem real. A man gets on a plane with a no funny business.
No funny business.
No
and
funny
a fucking
business.
fake ass bomb.
Yeah, and he just looks like a fucking alien, and he's just like, give me money or everyone dies, and it's like that's a cartoon. That's not real. And then he dives out of the plane. That just doesn't seem real. It just seems made up. But it's real. It happened. People saw it. Well, no one saw him dive out of the plane, but people saw this absolute genius demand $200,000 with what was essentially a bunch of Twizzlers mixed in with phone cords. I wish they had pictures of the quote unquote bomb, just so we could see what it looks like.
Because it never said that he'd take it with him. I mean, I don't see why
he
they
had
would.
to have, right? But then that opens up the question of where the fuck did he put the money?
Yeah, he had. Wait a minute. God, wait a minute.
Did he dive out?
He would have had to take the jumble of bullshit out of the suitcase,
right,
to put the money in.
And even
unless they gave him a brand new fucking suitcase.
Okay, even if, let's just say, just spitballing, they gave this man a suitcase full of money. You can't fit $200,000 in one suitcase. Like movies are like, oh, you can fit. No, you can't. It's not possible.
I mean, it depends on how big the bill is, I would assume.
He said in 20s.
In 20s? No.
Yeah. So it's like, did they give him a duffel bag? And then it's even more questioning.
It had to have been.
And then my question continues even more of like, you're not going to fit $200,000 in just one duffel bag. It's not possible. It's not. It's not humanly possible. That is
not in 20s.
Cartoon Wile E. Coyote nonsense. So, did he dive out of this plane with 4 duffel bags filled with money, praying
That's
for?
That's why the 4 parachutes. The other 3 were to fucking stuff the money in.
Turns out he
fucking pulls it, all the money flies out. No, I don't know.
Turns out he asked for all the money to be put in boxes, and then the other 3 parachutes were to parachute the money down like care packages in Call of Duty.
Jesus Christ!
Turns out he was thinking with big brain the entire time. We're the fucking idiots here.
Big brain thoughts here, man. You don't know what you're talking about.
So okay, let's just say they gave it to him in like multiple suitcases, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Did he dive out with just the one suitcase and the bomb? If he took the bomb, I have more questions than I have answers here. Because if he took the bomb, why wouldn't they just go to where they think he parachuted? What's he gonna do? Blow up the Earth? It's a fake bomb. He might blow up like 10 trees.
Twizzler bomb, man. I don't know.
Yeah, he might blow up like 10 trees, but other than those 10 trees and maybe a civilian or 2, I think they would have been fine.
One of which being him.
Yeah, so it's like, why didn't they just because like I told you, the fighter jets that were flying behind, why didn't they just kind of dip down?
If they jumped out, why didn't they just pop and be done with it?
Yeah, okay, that's my other thing. If they saw him dive, well, they didn't see him dive out because it was dark as fuck, and he was in a black suit, and it's it's just a dot in the sky. Well, we assume it was a dot in the sky because with all of this money, it doesn't make any goddamn sense as to how it could have been put in a suitcase. Either way, let's just say he has the Mary Poppins suitcase of endless bullshit. You can just shove a fucking lamp in there. So, let's say he has this suitcase, and he dives out. You can hear the fucking washer in the background, and I hate that. But, say he dives out with this Mary Poppins suitcase. Okay, and he's like diving through the sky. Well, now he has 2 suitcases and 4 parachutes. Where the fuck are these other 3 parachutes going? Did he leave them on the plane? And if so, why didn't someone decide to dive out after him and be the hero?
I mean,
I can understand why they wouldn't, but you would think just one person would.
Like I said, the only thing with the other parachutes that I can think of is to have other people wear them and then also make them push out, so it'd be like multiple people, so you're not sure.
But no,
that's the only logical thing that I could think of.
It was one jerk off with a suitcase and a dream.
A suitcase and a dream.
It's like, there's so many holes in this story that are just not filled in correctly.
So I don't know what to do here, man.
So even if he did have the $200,000, like, where would he have put it?
Mexico. Oh. I was about to say, he went to Mexico. He fucking was trying to go to Mexico City, remember?
He was trying to go to Mexico City, which also still doesn't make any sense. U.S. money is, like, because
I mean, you could probably convert it into pesos.
You'd have to convert it, but you're a criminal.
Yeah, it's fine. Mexico. Have you ever been to Mexico? They don't care about criminals, man.
You know, that's
they
fair.
hit El Chapo and fucking, like, those other guys.
And the Chupacabra.
Yeah, that too.
Either way, we're coming up on 30 minutes. I have no other things I can think of to say here.
Ain't got no other fucking nonsense to come up with because I'm also kind of lost.
Yeah,
I don't really know what to do here.
Nothing in his story makes sense. I don't know how he was going to dive out with all this money. He dove out with at least some of the money because there's been stories of people who have found money along the fucking riverbanks in Washington, and it's like, it's obviously just bullshit stories, but it's like he just dove out of a plane and the FBI never found him, and we just kind of all pretended like it didn't happen. But that's all I got, man.
All right.
You got any little tidbits of information or fun things you want to tell the audience?
Not yet.
What kind of fucking to be continued bullshit is that?
Well, I got some stuff coming up in 2 weeks, and if it goes well, then I will have news, and if it doesn't go well, then I won't have news.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Yes.
Next week, if we do another Unsolved Horrors next week, or whatever time we end up putting this episode out, it'll be about Killdozer.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm already really planning for it. It's going to be super gnarly.
That's going to be great. I have heard of this one. It's great.
It's cool.
I'm with it.
Well, all right.
Bye-bye.
Deuces.